How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys having a great and exceptional day. I don't know why I always get these thoughts of inspiration when I get home from the gym, home from work, all the good stuff. So gotta talk about it when the spirit hits me, as they say. But anyways, so there was a post I saw on Facebook today, and it was actually a great conversation about relationships. Now, what I'm about to say is I'm on the side of this gentleman because he's being open and honest. When anybody's open and honest, man, female, whomever, they're open and honest, I got to respect that. You know, you might not like what they have to hear, but at least you always know where they're coming from. That's one thing I like about the South and the most when it comes to the southern part of the United States and New York. Some of the realest people on the planet come from the South, the whole deep South, all right, in New York City, because they're gonna let you know how they feel about you. I come from the DMV area. We got some real people in the DMV area, but it's a big fake culture because you know the hub of the federal government is here, so everybody's trying to impress everybody else, and 9 times out of 10 they're just over broke. That's because that's what a job stands for. If you don't know how to make money outside of your job, being just over broke. But anyways, and I'm not doubting anybody who has a job. I have a job, but I'm just saying that's what a job stands for. If you don't know how to make money outside of the job, because that's the American way. Make money, put that money into things that are going to make you money. But anyways, back to the story at hand. So, the subject matter was the brother was going on the first date, well, getting to know this young lady, and he was getting to know this young lady. He was trying to properly, as they would say, he was trying to properly court her. Okay. So as he was trying to properly court her, she said to him, "Well, I want to get this something out in the front. Before we go further, I don't believe in having sex unless I'm getting married. I've had sex before, but I'm not. So she wasn't a virgin, but she's like, but I don't believe in having sex unless I'm going to have sex with my husband." And he said, "You know what? I can respect that. Thank you for that policy." He said, "Me personally," he's like, "I don't believe in paying for dates unless he's like, I don't believe in paying for dates unless you're my wife. So if we go out on dates, let's go Dutch." I haven't heard that term in a long time, meaning I pay for my portion of the dinner, you pay for your portion of the dinner. Now, me personally, I don't subscribe to that, but I respect that. And as expensive as things are, I could see that becoming a normal thing for a multitude of dates. Now, maybe not the first date, but for future dates, I could see that because I don't care what state and city you live in nowadays. Everything is overpriced. Food's overpriced, gas is overpriced, rent's overpriced, buying a house is overpriced, buying a car is overpriced. Now, prices have started to decline a little bit, mostly with cars because people are doing a better job of saying, "Hey, I'm going to take care of my car." More and more people are learning how to do specific things on their vehicle to keep their car running, point A to B. If you live in a major city, a lot of people say, "The heck with even owning a car. I'll just take an Uber, I'll walk, I'll take a train, I'll take a bus," whatever the case may be. Excuse me. Or if you do a lot of if you're smart like a lot of people do, they have like 5 or 10 people living in a house, working people. So hey, everybody shares 1 to 2 cars. That saves money, that saves time, less insurance, taxes, etc., and so forth. All right. But I could see if I was personally dating in today's environment, I would see myself doing that. I'm like, yeah, let's go Dutch, or this date I'll pay, next date you pay. Some sort of compromise. Because if you go to any reasonable restaurant, I'm not even talking about like the expensive restaurants like Papados, Morton's, Legal Seafood, Roof Chris, those nice overpriced restaurants, which love all those restaurants, especially Papados is my favorite. But, that's definitely, I say, anniversary, birthday, date night restaurants. Okay. But even if you're eating out at Chili's, if you're eating out at, which is, I can't stand Chili's, eating out at Applebee's, Fridays, just those, I like to call those, they're not bottom of the barrel restaurants, but they're not top notch restaurants. They're right in the middle. Okay. Or Outback Steakhouse. It's all in the same category. You're on a date. You're still, now if you, without having drinks, you might get away with paying $50 to $60 per meal. But if you have drinks, meaning alcohol, 9 times out of 10, the bill's going to be up to no less than $70 plus the tip. In certain instances, it could be up to, depending on if you get appetizers as well, plus the meal, plus the drinks, it could be up to $90 to $100. All right. And if you're doing that every time you go out on a date, now some females they consider themselves a cheap date. So they go to places where it's not that expensive. So, but like I said, in today's environment, it's very expensive. So I can understand why a man would say that. He's like, hey, if I'm going to invest in my quote unquote future wife, then I got to be at the point where I'm like, hey, I got to let you know this is what it is. Now, if you're going to be serious about trying to get married, then hey, you got to be able to make the sacrifice if I'm going to make the sacrifice of having sex. Now, some women might say, heck no. Some women might say, I agree with that. But here's the thing. The beautiful thing is the honesty button was hit in a big, big way. So the choices were made. Choices can be made. Either, hey, I'm going to say yes to this man because he's open and honest with me. So we will go Dutch every time we go out on a date. Or, and because I told him about my principles in regards to now some people will argue, well, that's two separate things, having sex with somebody and paying. I was like, you know what? Agreed. 100%. Those are two separate entities. They're not the same ballpark. They're not even the same sport. Agreed. However, the main purpose of me even talking about this is that my man was like, hey, I'm being honest with you. I appreciate your honesty about not willing to have sex with anybody unless you are married. You only have sex with your husband. Respect. But if he says my principles are from an economic standpoint, and most times for the men, the economics, the real men in the room are like, hey, I got to be about my paper because being broke as a joke ain't cool no more. And we live in an environment nowadays where it's easier to become broke as a joke and stay broke as a joke if you're not about your business, if you're not about increasing your assets, increasing your income, increasing your value as a worker or as a business entrepreneur, then you can be put in a position where you can become homeless. Most major cities nowadays, it's kind of like third world conditions in a sense, not as where it is as dirty or as unsafe as certain third world countries, but it is as to where people are living in trailers, mobile homes, not regular trailers, but actual mobile homes, living in their cars, but going to work every day. As I like to call the working homeless. And that is a growing trend, no matter, because people are used to just seeing that in California and New York, but it's all over now. It could be in all the major cities in Texas, be in Jackson, Mississippi, it could be in Atlanta, Georgia, all the major cities in Florida, because Florida's gotten ridiculously expensive. Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. It's all, Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Indianapolis, Minnesota, Nashville, Memphis. It's all over. So it's unescapable at this point. So to be economically aware and to be aware of the fact that you can be put in a precarious position to where you could be homeless, you have to be in a position right now to try to save as much money as possible. Okay, and invest as much money as possible and increase your assets as much as possible. You have to put yourself in that kind of position. That is where we're at in the United States of America, regardless of the White House, Governor's House, Mayor's House. I don't do politics, I do business. But that is where we're at. So if you just joined, the thing I was talking about is the one man put out a social media post saying, hey, he was trying to properly court a woman, saying, hey, I would like to, get to know you, want to go out on a date with you, et cetera, and so forth. And she's like, okay, well, let me put something out there in the air. I'm not going to have sex with you. I only want to have sex with my husband. So he's like, okay, cool. Respect that. My mindset is when I date a woman, let's go Dutch, because my principles are from an economic standpoint. So whenever we go out on a date, you pay for your dinner, I'll pay for my dinner. And a lot of course, majority of the females who were responding to that were like, yeah, those are two separate entities. It's not the same thing. I was like, exactly. It's not the same thing, but those are his principles. Those are her principles. And either you could be the adult female and adult male and say, I'm with you, or you can say the hell with it and walk away. Be the adult at the end of the day, make the choice, go from there. So on that note, I'm heading in the house, do the great 3 things, like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. As I always say, make money moves, or you're going to live, bro, like a fool. Take care.